please put like a longer password, or sometimes we've seen where it says there are missing characters, add special characters. So today what we want to look at is how do we then enforce that as an administrator? Because we can enforce this on two levels. We can enforce this on a local device. For example, we can enforce it on one device so that whoever tries to log in on that or sign up on that device or create an account on that device, the system requires them to meet a certain requirements when they are signing up, right? And then we can also put it on a domain level. So we're looking at it in two ways, on a local device and then on a domain platform. How then do we do it on a domain platform? The difference is that on a domain platform is that when you apply these controls on a domain platform, let me just do this. So when you apply these policies on a domain, these policies here, the length of the password, the character types, on a, for example, look at here, enforce password history. So what do we mean by enforce password history? All right, we're going to look at that maximum password age. So these are the policies, these are the policies that we need to implement within on a domain level or on a local device level. So that when anyone signs up or they're trying to punch in a password, without even the technician or the IT department being there, these policies will be saying to the users, sorry, you can't type in this, or an error message, the password doesn't match the strength level or the character level that we want. So, and then also some passwords or some accounts within your network, you might want them to expire. Why would you want an account to expire? Sometimes you have like a contractor who's coming in for a specific period of time, and then you just want to kick them out within a specific time. Or there are certain passwords that you want them to expire maybe in 3 days, 4 days. You can specify that. So now we just want to look at that. We want to see how then can we do it? How then can we implement these security measures on these devices that we are in charge of within a network, right? So where do we find this lab now that we want to focus on? Where is this lab? Let's see. All right, so what topic was it? I think the topic is managing security. Yeah, that's the one, managing security settings. So just go to managing security settings. What we want to look at is want to look at how do we enforce password settings so that we can prevent the reuse of previous 4 passwords, prevent like, or maybe say password must be at least 10 characters, or password with upper and lowercase numbers, or we want maybe password, we need a password to be changed every 30 days. So that's what we want to implement now within this lab. So look for sign up there on your account where you find your material. And then once you have signed in, look for managing security settings. Look for managing security settings. We just want to look at 2 labs, depending on our time. If time allows us, I think we can look at 2. All right, so want to enforce password. We said want to enforce password in 2 levels. Want to enforce password on you can see want to start with local security policy, right, within one device. So these, we're going to be enforcing them on one device, and then we move it to a domain level. So on a domain level, this would be the policy that applies to every user within the network, every user within the company that you are controlling. So we want to do those things now. All right, once you are here, you can click on start. You can click on start there. All right, mine is still opening. What's happening there? I say, all right, let's see my network. Open that. Play. Oh, you're the winner. Okay, that's nice. All right, we are opening this one here. And then, as I said last time, that the good part with these labs is that the instructions are there. The instructions are there. So you do your theory by reading through or watching videos. And then just to enforce that knowledge, you just come here on the labs and do the practical part of it. So it says, as a security administrator for a small corporate network, you noticed multiple temporary employees use the laptop in the lobby. Right? So this is one laptop, maybe it's on the lobby. You decided to use the local security policy tool to implement more stringent password controls. So you want to apply stringent password controls on one PC that's maybe on the lobby of your organization. And then it says to access local security policies, search for and run Windows tools. So you can see everything that we need is given to us, the information for us to be able to complete this is there. So we can look for Windows tools. Let's say Windows tools. As I said last time, that in Windows, there's so many ways of accessing this information. So for someone else, they might even use this shortcut Windows logo and arrow. So you click on Windows logo and arrow. So within here, let me click somewhere here. Let me say Windows logo and arrow. Oh, the shortcut is not working on this environment. All right. Where was I? Windows. So on a personal PC, you can type in Windows R and then type in sec policy to get to the same part. But according to this, we just need Windows tools. We are going to Windows tools. Okay, expand this so that you can be able to see everything. Right, so you can see here we have Windows tools gives you access, grant you access to many things that you can control within the system, right? You can see computer management. Okay, let me close that. Let me start again before I get there. There's computer management. There is defrag. So all these tools that you can utilize to manage the system. So there are other labs that we have where they focus mainly on these. There's a lab that we focus on Windows Defender. I think within our class, we have created a task. We have went through the task manager. We have used most of these tools here on our previous classes. But now our focus is we want to create password policy. We want to make sure that the users, when they are creating an account on this PC, they follow the specified controls. All right. So we click on local security policies. All right, you can double click that. All right, it brings us to this page. And then you can see we have account policies, we have local policies. Let's click here on expand the account policies there. So our goal is to, when I start, it says passwords. We want to prevent the reuse of the previous 4 passwords. So no user can use, like if they have used a password before, so we want to make sure that that password can't be reused again. So we want to reject the 4 previous passwords. We want to reject the 4 previous passwords. So let's start here on the account policies. We said we can expand them. You can see, and then there is password policies. I can double click that. There's password policies. All right. And then there's this part that says enforce password. Let me see, my guys, are we following? Are we on the same page? Right there. Okay. Right. So now we are here on the password policies. What we're gonna do. The good part is this: as an administrator, when you are working on this, if there's anything that you don't understand, Microsoft has a window where it explains these concepts. Okay, this is for what, this is for what. So what we have done so far is we clicked on Windows tools, and then we went to local security policies. Now we want to control this. We want to edit this part. So I can double click this. Then it brings in this dialog box or this window. And then it says here, prevent the reuse of the previous 4 passwords. And then let's say I'm not sure what this thing does. I say, it says enforce password history, but I have no idea what password history is all about. I can click here on explain. Can you see? Microsoft will go deep into what exactly you need to do, or what is this tool used for. It says enforce password history. So this security setting determines the number of unique new passwords that have to be associated with a user account before an old password can be reused. You see, so the value must be between 0 to 24 passwords. So as an administrator, each and every organization will have their own policies. So each and every organization has their own policies. Maybe our company policies is this. So you can see prevent the reuse of the previous 4 passwords. So now it's your responsibility to implement this company policy on this device. So the policy states that it should be, you can't use 4 previous passwords. Okay, so that's the explanation. We said if you're not sure what this each tool is for, you can click on explain, then you can get broader explanation about that topic or that tool that you're using. And then we come back to local security setting, enforce password history. We said reuse of the previous 4 passwords. Let's see that if it works. So the number, the policy, company policy says 4. Then I can say apply and then click OK. You can see now 4 passwords. So it will remember those 4 passwords. If anyone tries to reuse any of those 4 passwords, then it will reject that. I'm sure you have seen this in different accounts where it rejects. It says, okay, the password, you have used it before. It's either your, even the iPhone account side, they have their own policies there. All right. So each and every company will have their own policies. So what's the next policy now that we need to implement, or the next control that we need to implement? The next control is password must be at least 10 characters long. So maximum password age. So we're looking for the one that says password must be at least 10 characters long. So the password, minimum password length, right? So maximum password age, we have minimum password age. We want to minimum password length account. So now we want to say, the second one is what maximum password age. So password must change every 30 days. So we want to do the maximum password age, right? Let's do the maximum password age there. All right, double click that. Let's see again, if I don't understand what this tool is, I will read. The security setting determines the period of time in days that a password can be used before the system requires the user to change it. So maximum password age said passwords must change every 30 days. So as you can see here, the default is what, 42, but the company policy says 30 days. So that means we need to change that to 30 days. I can use these drop-down arrows, or I can type in a number directly there. I can do a 30 days there. All right, so 30 days, and then apply, and then click OK. So that's the maximum password age. And then once you're done with the second one, let's say we don't know what the minimum password age is. Let's double click it. Let's go to explain here. What do we need? The security setting determines the period of time that a password must be used before the user can change it. So here, you have a minimum password age. So you can't change a password in less than specific days. So do we have any policy that aligns with that? So new passwords cannot be changed for at least 2 days. So minimum password age, it looks like this is what we're supposed to control, right? So the minimum password age, we are given the policy that at least 2 days. So we come this side, password can be changed after 2 days. So that means on the first day, if you try to change these, there might be some policies. The policy, if it's implemented, it might restrict the user from doing that. And then click on apply, and then click OK. So minimum password age, according to the company policy, they say 2 days. Minimum password length. Do we have anything that says minimum password length? Password must be at least 10 characters. So you can see we have a policy for the length. It says minimum of what? At least 10 characters. Must be at least 10 characters. So minimum password length, we double click that. And then again, if I'm not sure what it does, we're going to read it. This security setting determines the least number of characters that a password for a user account may contain. So it means that if anyone tries to type in a password with less than 10 characters, they will get that error message on the screen to say, okay, the length of the password is not long enough as specified by the administrator. Then they will work on that password again. All right, so passwords must be at least 10 characters long. We do have that. Apply, and then click OK. And then what else do we have? Passwords with upper lowercase numbers, special characters are required. So we have seen this one a lot where you need to, it will tell you that your password is not strong enough or your password doesn't meet the specified policy or something like that. So we need to, you can expand this just to see the entire information on this. So you can move mouse over there on that line to expand and see the entire thing. So password must meet complexity requirements. Okay, you can see on this part, password must with upper lowercase numbers and special characters are required. So let's double click this. Again, I have no idea what that tool does. I click here, password must meet complexity requirements. And then you can see now what does it mean by complexity requirement. All of these non-alphabetic characters are required, base 10 digits, English lowercase, and all of that. So we are required to enable this. So click on enabled. By default, it was disabled, and then click apply, click OK. All right, it looks like now on the password policies part, on these, we have applied all of these. Again, if we didn't apply, if we missed anything, when we click on score the lab, it will show us what we missed. All right, but check here says when editing a policy, an explain tab provides more detail about the policy and settings so that you can know exactly what are you controlling, what policy are you enforcing then, what control is being enforced on that. All right, we have more here. Account lockout. Last time the demo that I showed you was of us doing brute forcing into an account. And then that account or that system that we were brute forcing to, it didn't have an account lockout. So we were able to send multiple. So the account lockout, what happens is on your iPhone or on your phone then, when you try to log into your phone, maybe with the wrong password, like 3 times or 4 times, it does lock you out, right? For a period of like 30, is it 30 minutes or by default? I don't know. It's not 30 minutes. It should be less than that. But there is a timer there where it's a cool off time. So the reason why we have that is so that if anyone tries to put force using an automated tool, every time they reach maybe 4 passwords that they're trying, it kicks them out. And then the cool off period, you specify what's the cool off period before you try again. So by implementing this policy, we are blocking those automated tools whereby if they are trying by all means to, maybe let's say they have a list of passwords, let's say 100 of them. So if they're trying to use an automated tool to go through a different number of list of passwords until they find the correct one, so it will only allow them 4 passwords per time. And then the cool off period that you specify, if it's 30 minutes, then it will lock them out for 30 minutes. Then they will have to try to log in again. Okay, enough about that explanation. Account lockout, automatically unlock logged accounts after 1 hour. So you can see this one, the time is 1 hour. Right? So let's click there on the account lockout policies. What are we supposed to control? Automatically unlock logged accounts after 1 hour. Account lockout duration. Let's check out that. What does it do? Account lockout duration. So you're going to be, your account will be locked out for what? For how long? Click on explain. This security setting determines the number of minutes a locked out account remains locked out before automatically becoming unlocked for you to log in again. All right. So we are given a policy. Our policy states that account lockout should be 1 hour. So automatically unlock locked accounts after 1 hour. All right, get back to this side. Account is locked out until administrator unlocks it. All right, you want to do that, or you want to say, you can type in there. For me, I've used this before. You can see, I can say 60 minutes, right? It says 1 hour there. account lockout duration, 60, and then you apply that. And then what else do we have? Lock the user account after 4 incorrect login attempts. So now this will get activated. The account lockout duration will kick in after this person has failed to log in with the correct password. Maybe after how many? It says after 4. So if you punch in 4 incorrect login passwords, now will become active. It will lock you out for a period of 60 minutes without you not having access to that. So let's see account lockout threshold. Double click that. What does it say? And let's say you have no idea what this tool does. You click on explain. So this security setting determines the number of failed login attempts that causes a user account to be logged out. So this is the one that triggers the first policy, or the first policy to be inactive. So if a user tries to log in with 4 wrong passwords, then the first policy will kick in now, will lock them out automatically. So it says this policy, the first one, account lockout, will kick in after 4 failed logins. Remember, we said that we are on the defense side. We are the one defending. We are implementing these. So when you're studying Security Plus, when you're studying Pentest Plus is on the attacking side. CISA Plus, you are on the defending side. So right now we are focusing on the defense side. You are the one protecting the company infrastructure. It's your responsibility to implement these controls within the company. So you click on apply. It says account lockout duration reset. So say, okay, there's click OK. For invalid, did it change the account lockout duration? I need it to be 60. 60 apply. All right, so we have, make sure you put it back on account lockout duration. It should be, we said after 1 hour, so 60 minutes. All right, and then what else are we missing now? Reset the number of attempts to 0 every 40 minutes. All right, let's see, reset account lockout counter. Let's click out. So we have account lockout threshold, which is 4 invalid log-on attempts. And then we have the account lockout, logged out for 60 minutes. Reset account lockout. But it looks like my network is dropping. What's happening on my network? Okay. All right. So now reset account lockout counter. So what is the policy stating? It says attempts to 0 every 40 minutes. All right. What does this mean? So this security setting determines the number of minutes that must elapse after a failed log-on attempt before the failed log-on attempt counter is reset to 0 bad log-on. So before we grant you access back to this, what's the cool-off time? Where are we putting you? We call it like the, what you call this? So we're kicking you out for a period of time, right? So that's reset account lockout after how many? 40 minutes, all right? And then apply that and then click OK. So we have 40 minutes, we have 60 minutes on these policies. So now, anytime any user tries to log into our system after, let's say, and then they get the password wrong for 4 times, then it should lock them out. And then they're going to be kicked out for some time. And then after that, 60 minutes, they come back and then can be able to, the counter can be able to start again, and then they can have access to the login option. All right, so this is your policies. There are policies, and then it's your responsibility as an administrator within the organization to enforce these. These might seem like they are not that important, but most of the attacks or most of the breaches that we see, they are starting from the password part, where the password is too weak, and then it got a hacker or an outside or an attacker gain access because the password was too weak, or they use different tools, automated tools, to gain access to this. So this might not be, when it comes to security, these methods, they might not be the main, or they might not 100% protect our systems, but they're creating a layer of security. we're creating a layer. We're also doing what we call, we're deterring the attacker. We don't want to make it easy for an attacker. You don't want your network to be easily hacked by anyone. So once you bypass these measures, there is also, after these, we can implement multi-factor authentication. So we bypass one security measures, then you need to go to another one. We bypass another one, the attacker needs to go to another one. So we create these layers of security so that when you bypass one, you have to go to another one. So you need to make sure that you delay or you deter these guys so that there are measures in place to kind of like stop these attacks. For sometimes, for some scenarios, you find that if you, let's say maybe someone tries to log into an account, maybe they forfeit logons. As an administrator, if it's coming from an attacker, most of the times you might have like a notification. Maybe you plugged in a notification to say, if for these specific accounts, maybe it's a CEO account or it's like, you know, those imported accounts within your network, you might set up a notification to say, if there is any 4 or 5 failed login to this account, you need to get a notification. So anytime when someone, even though it locked them out here for that period of time, you get also a notification to say, okay, this is what's happening. Then you can investigate further to see it, okay, is it maybe someone forgot their password? Is it an authentic user? Is it someone from the company, or is it an attacker? So if it's an attacker, then you know, okay, oh, this account needs to remain locked or whatever it is. But this on its own, you can have a notification where you receive, for these, we call them critical accounts. Any important account to the organization, you can get those notifications about that part. All right, so once you have done this, what you want to do is you want to score the lab. You want to check how did you do, score the lab. So we might have gotten it wrong or somewhere, and then it will tell us, are you ready to score? Yes, I'm ready to score. And then it will tell us, okay, what is it that we did wrong? And then you can go back and fix those mistakes. So you can see it says your score is 100%. You managed to set up the required actions. Remember the last 4 passwords. First password changes every 30 days. So you can see this is what we were doing within the system. As I said last time, that if you are not sure, or you, like there's a lab that is giving you challenges, you're not sure what to do, make sure that you open that lab and then click on score lab so that you can get some instructions, because the whole idea is for you to learn. So if you are struggling, if you can't proceed, you are stuck for maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you can't go ahead, then you can click on score the lab. Even though maybe, let's say here you get like maybe 0 or whatever percentage that you get, as long as you have these instructions. So you can see you get more details or more information here of what you were supposed to do, the explanations. So you get these explanations, then you should be fine on any of these labs. If you do the score lab, if you're struggling, score the lab, and then you get this information. But so these different policies that you are going to implement or apply. So we have policies. Policies, these are just what we have maybe written down to say, okay, this is how we need to, like, so for example, these are our policies, right? Policy, let's say, where is our policy? Let's say, this is our policy states that this is what needs to be done. And then we need controls. So we might have what we call policies, and then we need controls in place. So most of these policies are enforced by certain controls. So you have a policy. So you can see in this lab, your task is to configure the following account policies. So we have these account policies, and then you need to implement those controls. Because sometimes it's not, it defeats the purpose if you only have policies and then there's no way that they're enforced, because they will be just written down. But you need to have the policies and then enforce those policies. So what we did now, we were enforcing these company policies on that local device. So right now, what we were doing was on one device. So we were applying or controlling or protecting one device. So if you want now to, because on your organization, remember we said this is the, maybe this you're working on it on one PC that was on the, maybe on the company lobby somewhere, and then maybe this is a laptop that is used by everyone, right? But now you want to control the domain accounts. You want to protect the domain accounts. You want to implement the same policies, but on the domain level, meaning that every account that is part of that domain or active Entra or whatever it is, it should have these policies. So you don't want to implement this on one PC, but on the domain level. So let's see if there's a lab like that. Or there's a second one. This lab here, user policy management. User policy management. So click on that one there. Let's check out what we have. So it says you are the IT administrator for a small corporate network. You need to configure a password policy for the domain on the corp DC virtual server. So which you can access via Hyper-V. So we're accessing this via Hyper-V, and then you can see the domain on the PC is what corp DC. So now it's no longer a local device, it's now on the domain level. Okay, I got it somewhere on, was it TikTok, YouTube? Okay. So now we just want to look at this on the domain level. You can see managers, let's group policy management, maximize the window for better viewing, blah, blah, blah. So the instructions are already there of what or where to get to the account policies. So you can see this is the same account policies tab that we were on the local device, but now we want to do this on a domain level. So let me say start the lab. Just waiting for my page to open there. Why is it taking forever to open? Let's see there. My network, why is it taking forever to open this? I can't open that. So I'm trying to open this. Let's see how far we can go. See, every time my network is bad. I'm gonna end the live course. And from there, what's happening here? But I see it's almost 8. Come on. If the one is here. Come on. Right, looks like my network is acting up. Let me just do this. All right, so we have looked at least one lab. So next time, I think I will schedule another class, and then I don't want to take long on this because this is midweek classes. 1 hour is fine. I just wanted to do another lab, but my network is way too slow. It's acting up. All right, so we'll look at another lab on our next class. I don't know when that will be, but again, it's also for some be dependent on the request from you guys to say, okay, this is what I need to learn, or I'm struggling with 1, 2, 3, or this concept, I don't understand the specific concept or any concept you research, then we will look at that together. Let me see, run that. Just do the demo on the level and then also on the local PC level. Okay, it's fine. It doesn't want me to do that now. All right, so you guys will let me know. We'll communicate on the group, and then we know what next what is to be done. But now, my focus next after is how the analytics. We started with Excel. When I moved to Power BI, SQL. But for you, don't try to do many things in IT. Choose what you want to do in IT. Like if you would be a data analyst, cybersecurity analyst, network engineer, I always advise people like you are starting, start with your A plus, network plus, or security plus, or other, and then you specialize later. Just do specialty later. Don't try to do everything at once. It's better for you to specialize later on in life. Maybe let's say maybe you specialize in master cyber security, you can move to other certification and all of that. But if you want to be a cloud administrator, go through the certification that that covers the cloud administration, like AWS certification, Azure certification. You master that, then you expand later on, move to something else after that. If you try to do everything, you just be all over the place. Like you become a master of none. There's no special, there's no part we can say, okay, you're strong in this. So after years of being in IT, you become a developer, you need to be a certification in that field. But don't try to do everything at once in IT. IT is very broad. Choose what you want, focus on that, master that, and then after that. All right, I just want to today is 2 minutes to 8 there. When I call it a day, see you guys when we hear an discuss. I want to go through that, but it looks like okay, you can see. All right. Before I wrap up, any questions? Okay, no questions. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll communicate in terms of what labs are we looking at, depending on the receipt from you. Okay. Cheers.